Undisputed Client has updated to 1.20.80. Undisputed is definitely the best Ghost client out there for 1.20.80 with a bunch of modules, customization options, and even screen share protection. To get the client, you need to join their official Discord server, which will be linked down in the description below. And if you want a 10% discount, make sure to use code IT'sMe64. Once you have the client, it's literally as simple as double clicking on it, and as you can see, it'll start right up. As I said, it does definitely work for 1.20.80, and when Minecraft updates in the future, Undisputed will be updating as well. So looking at the client, we can start off with this top part of modules and we'll work our way down. So right at the top over here we have the built-in auto clicker, which is honestly one of the best ones I have seen, and a bunch of customization options to actually go with that. So you can tune the auto clicker however you want. You can choose the max amount of clicks per second and then also the minimum amount of clicks per second. If you make these the same, you'll always have the same amount. However, if you reduce these, it may differ, which is good for bypassing anti-cheats. For this example, I'll set mine to 20 and 10, which means I have a maximum of 20, minimum of 10. So if I click and hold right now, I'll have somewhere between 10 and 20 clicks per second. When you're just in regular Minecraft and you have the auto clicker enabled, as you can see, not much is actually going to happen. If you, however, left click and hold, as you can see, the auto clicker will start working, allowing you to toggle it on and off whenever you want. Now, additionally, at the very bottom over here, you'll have the toggle key. Standard, it's going to be bound to X, which I'm also going to bind it to right now. Basically, as you can see, I am using the auto clicker functionality right now. If I then click on X, it's going to be disabled, and if I click on X once again, as you can see, it's going to be enabled. So additionally, at the bottom over here, we have the toggle key. If we click on that, we can press on any key, and that's what this entire functionality is basically going to be bound to. It's standard bound to X, which is also what I've bound it to right now. Anyways, basically, as you can see, it's on right now, and I'm holding down left click. If I then click on X, it's automatically going to be disabled for me, and if I click on X, it's going to turn right back on again. You can also make the auto clicker work if you press on the right mouse button, or if you double click and then hold. So as you can see, it won't work right now. If I double click and hold, then it is going to be activated. Anyways, you also have a fake jitter option over here, which is pretty wild in my opinion. Then you can turn up the strength of that if you do wish to do so, of course. And it can definitely get pretty wild. Of course, it also works with weapons. Lastly, in this part, we have an option that is a must-have for any good PvP client. We have the sprint option right there. I'll turn off the jitter for you guys. Basically, what this does is I don't have to press on a sprint key, and I also don't have to double press on W, and it's automatically going to make me sprint if I do choose to move forwards, which is definitely very useful. Moving from there into this next area right over here, as you can see, we have a bunch of stuff. I'll put this all on 0 and explain what it all is. First off, we have the reach, which is probably well known among most of you guys. Anyways, basically it just increases how far you can reach things inside the game. So as you can see, if I just sneak right now, I've got the auto clicker turned on and I'm constantly hitting, and that is around the point when I break it. Rough test, but you get the idea. If I turn minimum and maximum both up to 5, which is basically all the way up, then as you can see, I break it from much further away. I can do that once again for you guys right here, and as you see, I already break it from there, which is exactly 5 blocks away. If you hadn't caught on, this is of course in length. In terms of length in blocks, you can turn down the minimum and it'll give you something in between these two values, thus also varying, I believe, thus decreasing the amount of chance that anti-hack systems catch on to you. Anyways, turning this off, we can move on to the velocity, which is a classic for ghost clients. This is great to bypass anti-cheats and stuff. Basically, velocity is an anti-knockback manipulator, and what it does is it works basically as anti-knockback, but it's not as detectable. Basically, if I have something like a cow here, say I hit it, as you see, it bounces up as well as backwards, and the same happens when I hit another player, right? Anyways, basically what the velocity does is, as you can see, it doesn't go from 1 upwards, but instead it goes from 1 downwards. And the linear velocity, or knockback in this case, is how far you get knocked backwards, and the velocity height is how far you would get knocked up, right? And basically this is standard set at 1.0, but as you can see, you can decrease it all the way down just like that, which is definitely great. And basically how I believe you would use this is that you would, for example, turn down the linear velocity, meaning that if someone hits me, now I don't get knocked backwards as far. Because I don't have the velocity height turned down, it should in theory be more difficult for the potential anti-cheats to catch on to what I'm doing. Next, we have 3 more options. An option to throw an ender pearl, throw a potion, or introduce fake lag. As you can see, you can simply turn these on by clicking on them, turn them off by clicking on them once again, and you can actually set hotkeys here as well. I can click on it just like so, and then I can press on any key and it's going to bind it to that. If you click on this little X next to that right over there, then it is going to unbind the modules. In this third part, we have a spot allowing you to spoof your device ID as well as your motherboard. If you tick this little box right over here, that's going to allow you to input custom values for your device ID as well as your motherboard. Anyways, continuing on to this last part right over here, we have the RGB settings, which as you can see are currently enabled. You can turn it off if you don't want to. That'll lock it at whatever color it is currently on. You can drag these things around, as you can see, and basically configure it exactly like that. Anyways, finally, we also have this hide key option. You can once again set a keybind for that. I can, for example, press on L. Now whenever I press on L, it is going to despawn. I can actually press on L once again, and it's going to pop back up. You can unbind it once again by pressing on that X button. Anyways, as you can see, if you pay close attention to my taskbar as well, I can press on L and it's going to completely disappear from there too. And if I press on L, it's going to reappear once again. Anyways, basically, that was Undisputed Client. Overall, I highly recommend it, and I think it is a great client. Of course, it might have quite a bit less modules than we might be used to with some other clients, but this client is good in what it offers, which is being a Ghost client, of course. I would argue that it is definitely the best Ghost client for Bedrock Edition at the moment. Remember that you can get the client for yourself through the link down in the description below. Use code ITSME64 for 10% off. Also, do consider subscribing if you like content like this, because I do make a lot more of it. So finally, with all that being said, thank you ever so much for watching, and I do of course hope to see you again in the next one. Bye bye.